podcast is live. Warp speed ahead.
Welcome everyone. How's everyone do today? Welcome STFC Briefings. We are live on free 12th. It's gonna be exciting. Quasel, how you doing today, buddy? We can't hear Quasel for whatever reason. Hear Quasel now. How you doing, Quasel? We can't hear Quasel, so our first error of the day has begun. Quasel is speaking. We can't hear him. Error as Nigel's just user errors useful. The video sound is 100% clear for me on Twitch. Okay, let's have we'll sort this out in 2 seconds. Thank you very much for subscribing. Panda Pilot. Let's have a look and see what the issues used for today. Let's see. So let's get this going through. Give me guys a few seconds while I try and sort this out. We've got a lot to talk about today, which would be quite important. It's probably me meeting on my own at this because we've got to figure out what is happening from there. So let's switch this to the chat. Okay. Apply. Now we should be hearing Quasel. Nope, we can't hear him here. Yeah, that's okay. Things happen for a reason. Quasel, speak to me again. Yeah, we can't hear you. This is going to be a fun stream. Just bear with me while I get this all working all the way through. This is my fault for trying to do Discord and sorry, Echo. Thank you very much. It's now gone. There you go. Echo now gone. One time. It's very bad. Okay. Give myself 5 minutes. If it doesn't work, then I will switch the stream off and say thank you very much. We'll give it one go. We'll see how things out, and we'll see what happens. So 2 seconds while Quasel's good stuff should come through, which is kind of interesting. Let's have a look. I see what I did. Okay. Quasel. Speak to me now. Nope, still not Diesel. This is fun. So let me explain to you the issue I have. I know it's on Discord. You can hear them on Discord, but it's not through the chat here. I know we're getting some messages regarding this. I'm going to patiently try and find a way around this. Let's put this on this one. Okay. Oh no. Leave that. Send console to. Oh dear. Yeah. The audio come from Discord is very bad day. Let me work on this. Sorry, people. Thank you very much. Something's very weird going. Yeah, I understand. Mistakes happen. Quasel. Because we're gonna end up losing the people on here. No, I can keep her. It's not that muting voice on Discord. If you're listening on this one or the other, let me do that. Give me 2 seconds. I do apologize, people. It's all right. Don't worry. We'll just end the stream soon if I can't get it right. It's just one of those. Just mean it's an unlucky day. Unlucky days mean we switch things off. Monitoring should be through that, which I should see. And Quasel's voice is not coming through. Keep talking to me, Quasel. No sound on Discord. You have feedback on Twitch. I shouldn't have any feedback anymore. You demand a comp chest. Yeah, fair enough. I will just switch the stream off and I will refund everybody. No problem. Yeah, don't worry about it, people. I'm not here. I don't mess about. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So I just have to give up on it and just consider it what is going on. I know you guys should hear Quasel on Discord quite clearly. The problem I've got is Quasel. This is what Caster's like. Caster unfortunately throws all these hissy fits all the way through. Let me do something else. Let me see if your voice... Why doesn't it come through on the chat channel? Let's look at the output. Sorry about this, people. It's going to be a boring time of figuring out how to do with this. It's because on the mix minus on there. So I need to put Quasel on a different channel, which is fine. We can do that, which is if Quasel keep speaking to me, Quasel. We will eventually find the path to this. Give me a second. I'm just going to switch a couple of mics around. Where is that lovely little setting here? This is what happens when I try and do Discord at the same time. Where is Discord? Audio, which should be there. Okay, cool. Give me a second. Engagement. Ah, thanks. I will try and read. I know you guys trying to be humorous towards me. I am not very good at this, unfortunately. Let's try this. Oh dear, that's really bad. That's really bad coming from Discord. Let me see. I just checked it all and it was working really, really fine. It's really good. I'm not able to hear Quasel. I'm not able to hear anybody from Discord. That's the problem that I have at the moment. And unfortunately, what I tried to do was turn Caster on to try and save me the aggro. And what it's done, it's just caused me a little bit of a problem. But that's okay. We'll figure it out in 2 seconds. Ah, I think I see what it is. Okay. Quasel, if you speak. Nope. And oh, yep. Okay, so I can hear that that's coming through. Sorry, people. I guess we're just gonna have to end the stream. Sadly, we gave it a go. I will give myself a few more minutes, and then we'll see how it goes, how everything works, and we'll take it after that. Why is Discord not coming through? Let's give it one more go. Read some poetry. Well, not well. It might be. I did mute the track. No, I didn't mute the track. Quasel, thanks for the information on that one. Basically, Caster has to go off for Discord to work. Unfortunately, the channels are coming through Discord. Discord's having a hissy. Nigel says, Scopely, hold my beer. Maybe restart Discord. If I restart Discord, you guys can stay on the stage and we can try that. I think Discord's just having a hissy. I'm going to quit. So if you're on Twitch, you can still hear me on Discord. I'm now restarting, which should be out to stream where you do something really exciting, try and have Discord and everything running at the same time. Discord people are now completely silent and they don't know what's going on. Could be fun, could be exciting as we get back onto the stage. Yeah, reconnect to the voice. There we go. There we go. There we go. Well, okay. Speak to me. And you guys can hear Quasel now on Twitch, right? Speak to me, Quasel.
I don't see even you on the Discord stage. Where are you?
I don't hear you on stage either. So
2 seconds. I'm taking myself off the stage. Give me 2 seconds. I'm about to join. Myself off the stage.
Ah, so you're listening in. Getting.
Hello. Now it's all working. There we go. Finally.
Good evening.
there we go.
Can everyone hear me on? Yeah, hear him now. Thank you very much. Welcome to the absolute mess up that was this. This will be edited out or left in for comedy value, but at least we can hear Disco. We can hear people in there. Welcome back, Nigel. Now you almost sound like Nigel. That's not a good thing. That's a very bad thing. I know what Discord did. Discord had a hissy fit. There's a few people coming in. Sniper, come and join me as well on the stage. Sniper. As you join me on the stage, I'm going to give you the stage because I know you've got limited time and very limited, which is absolutely amazing for you to do so. Please let me know, how do you like everything that's kind of going on? We've had the comp chest. We've had a lot of hassles, didn't we, people? It's been a headache and a half. Sorry about how we kicked this off, but I will reward you guys with $300 worth of merchandise to be given away. Not to Quasel. He's the only one banned. The main thing I want people to understand is this, right? Sniper, now with all the research that we have for FKR ships, and there's a reason I'm speaking about this, so listen to this very carefully, especially if you're on Twitch and on Discord. With FKR additions, the surge, all that sort of stuff, is now an FKR ship as strong as the Vengeance or getting close to being as strong as the Vengeance. Sniper, your thoughts regarding all the FKR versus Vengeance situation? What do you think, buddy?
Yeah. So I'll try and keep, mostly positive to the degree I can when it comes to that. But you know some of my feelings on that particular area. But in general, I would say that the gap is, starting to close a bit more. There's still a gap between FKR and Vengeance, and I think we've seen that most prevalently with the Orion hostiles as of recently. People who had Vengeances, even fairly
Yeah,
low tiered Vengeances, had a much easier time dealing with the Orion hostiles than their counterparts who only had, FKRs, even
yeah,
at the same ops level,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But we have seen repeated pattern of Scopely coming out with various research and buffs and buildings and exos and CTs that are all say the words FKR only or only apply to FKR. Even Fleet Commander Cisco's abilities, the vast majority of them are FKR only. So there has been a lot of effort, and obviously I don't know Scopely's plans. I don't know why they choose to do certain things. They may have something planned for it,
yeah,
but the I think point is that they are certainly gearing things towards having the FKR ships continue to increase in power, right? Through stats,
yeah,
through bonuses, through various different things. So at some point, I imagine, in the future, we are going to look at the fact that the FKR ships, even something like a G6 Epic, is going to overtake the Vengeance if the pattern continues. It's not there yet, but it's starting. The pattern is there, right? Like, so the gap, whatever gap existed when the Vengeance first came out,
yeah.
compared to G6 Epic FKRs, the gap is starting to close.
Just let Sniper finish before anyone else jumps on. Quasel, just mute yourself, buddy. Let me explain to you why I think this is a good idea. Beach Whale, do you mind muting yourself, but while we crack on? It is very important that you say that, and I think it's quite clear. I think people need to realize, Cruzito brings up a good point. He says Vengeance taking its rightful place as the heir to the ISS Jelly in the gameplay and becoming irrelevant. I wouldn't say it's irrelevant, Cruzito. I always respect when you come on. If you do want to come on, please let me know. I'd always love your opinions. The main thing for you to focus on is suddenly an FKR ship going to be something really useful for you guys in the game? Because what ends up happening here is that the Vengeance is now, if you're not got it by now, and you don't have it by now, is it suddenly worth switching your sort of abilities to, hey, I need to do surges and get that surge research. I need to focus on, getting, my FKR ship to a very, very strong level? Or do I suddenly say, oh no, I'm still going to chase the Vengeance, and that's the thing to sort of aim for? Now, I know there's going to be a sticking point in this, Sniper, isn't there? Because basically, you're not going to be able... Can you kill with an FKR? As anyone know, can you kill with an FKR ship a 73 hostile? Or are you stuck on 72s? Hey, Dick Low, how you doing?
Sorry, I was going to answer that question, but you had the wrong. I thought it was a different question, so I'm
No.
muting myself again.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. I will call you guys out. Cruzito, thoughts on that one, please, buddy? Always love hearing you here.
So can you kill a 73? Yes, you can kill a 73 with an FKR ship.
Yeah,
You need to have your surge research done. I'm an Op 72.
yeah,
I'm able to kill him with my NT.
yeah,
And this kind of leads back to a little bit, where I said it's irrelevant is probably a strong word, but I wanted to do it for effect.
yeah,
But I think it's the same pattern, right? Where, ISIS Jelly came out, it's great. The difference between the Vengeance and that is that this actually has a PvP perspective to it that the
yeah,
ISIS Jelly never came to fruition
true.
because of the Interceptor and that, right? The Interceptor strike teams were just that strong and all of those things there. So that's why I think a lot of players do it.
Yeah,
Would I skip the Vengeance in place of doing your Epic? That's a tough one. It
yeah,
depends on where you're at. If
That's why you need to let me speak.
yeah. Or
go ahead, Beachwell.
go on, Beachwell.
Do not skip the Vengeance, and I'll tell you
Yeah.
why.
Okay,
So I built my uncommon ship.
Yeah.
It took me 60 million Sigma Trit just to get it to T4. I have 4 guns left in the cargo bay left, which is another 30 million Sigma Trit.
Yeah.
Or 20 million, sorry.
Yeah.
It can kill 474s at T4. My Vengeance can kill 30 plus at max.
At max. And are we talking about an FKR G6 or are we talking about an FKR G7?
FKR G7 can kill 474s at T4.
Okay, great. So if you're...
And I can kill 30 plus with my Vengeance.
Okay, then here comes another question. I am leading this in a certain path for a reason. Here's another question. Could you take a G6 Epic as a 71-72 and kill more than the Vengeance? With all the research and the surge research and everything that goes into the game. That's the most important.
5 minutes, I don't.
Yeah,
That's a loaded question because I've got both there, Odyssey, right? So
yeah,
right now, my Epic outperforms my Vengeance. The reason it does
Yeah.
is because I have more officer slots below deck, which means I can use a lot more of their abilities.
sure. Yeah,
Right? If everything else being equal, though, the Vengeance would destroy it. So I think, and that kind of goes to what maybe with Beach Whale, right? It's interesting when we talk about these ships and we cross generational is we think as our previous generation is, oh, these are so much better. Well, yes and no. It's just the fact that we have more slots available below deck.
Yeah.
So you're able to move up. But
Well-
Yeah.
I think what we're starting to see Scopely do is, hey, it's great. We're not going to really let you carry those previous generation ships too far into the future or into the next gen
Yeah.
on purpose because they don't want to have happen what happened with G5 into G6, where players were taking those epics all the way to 66 and probably even, then they were working their specialties all the way to 70. Like that was just a bad move.
yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, and the key thing, okay, yeah, but because there's no way a G6 FKR Epic will be able to get to a 76, so a rare G7. Do you agree, Sniper? There's like the skipping part of it becomes difficult. Yeah, go on, buddy.
Yeah, definitely the skipping part, but I think the kind of meta point that Frizito and Beachwell both brought up that kind of from different ends of the spectrum, if you think about it, is when you're comparing whether you're comparing a G6 FKR or you're comparing a Vengeance or you're comparing a G7 Uncommon, uh, we're not necessarily comparing them, max to max, right?
Yeah,
You're
true.
comparing them to where you can get them at a given time. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of times the bottleneck is things like Sigma Trit, right? We
Yeah.
know we have, an issue with that.
Massive. Yeah.
Sourcing for that, and multi-phasics for that, etc. So if we had, for instance, unlimited Sigma Trit and unlimited mats and could get, any one of those ships, whether it's the G6 FKR,
Yeah.
whether it's the Vengeance, whether it's the G7 Uncommon, like if we took cost off the table, right? We
Yeah.
said we can upgrade any of those to whatever level we wanted to, right? And we were comparing them equal level to equal level.
Yes.
So like a max G6 Uncommon and a max Vengeance. The max Vengeance still outperforms, in PvP and PvE, generally speaking,
Yeah.
a maxed FKR. But like I said, that gap is closing somewhat.
Yeah, it's closing.
Now,
It's
we talk about
yeah.
a max G7 Uncommon. I don't think most people have that or probably are likely to get that, right?
No.
I
I think, huh?
Yeah.
I saw a T12.
Yeah,
Arena.
yeah. No, you saw T12. The thing I'm trying to get to is, okay.
I have one thing real quick, Nigel.
Yeah, go on, Beachwell.
Here's one way that I need to think at it too as a non-spender.
Yeah.
Let's say you're just now hitting 70, or let's say you have a T4 Vengeance.
Yeah.
Let's say I didn't get my Vengeance in August and didn't build it and just said, you know what? I can do everything I need to do with my Epic FKRs.
Yeah.
And I just waited. I probably would have had the Sigma Trit to get to T7 out the gate.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
By Uncommon 73. And if it's similar to G5 to G6 was my Uncommon 63 needed to be T7 to be comparable to the Epic G5 when G6 first released.
Yeah,
So you do have to
that's
think is, do I just want to save all that Sigma trick for my uncommon?
yeah, and also I'd love to hear, because I can't believe he's finally here for the first time in 23 weeks, 7 days, 11 hours, and 16 seconds. Stony Dude, what are your thoughts? Because I just love to hear your voice. I've missed it so much, and I'm actually crying while I'm saying this.
Well, thank you for that very nice intro.
Eh.
I think there's a lot of great points made by everybody, to be honest. And ultimately, there's so many variables that come in: research, officer
Yeah,
levels, a few prototype tech, forbidden tech, chaos tech. It's so diverse. There's no cookie cutter crews anymore.
yeah,
I know I've tried some crews that other people have recommended and just not done very well.
yeah,
So it's really a personal thing, and ultimately, how fast do you want to get there? Do you want to, because it's not just getting to the 73 uncommon. You need faction credits. You need rep.
yeah,
You need
loads.
the ungodly amount of uncommon materials to get to the 73 shipyard. And then, like Mr. Whale was pointing out, the Sigma Trit.
Yes.
So where are you in your game, and what do you want to do? It's what's awesome is there's a lot of different avenues that you can
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
As long as you're having fun along the way, that's the way you should go.
Yeah, agreed, Stony. And the reason I was trying to bring up this is I'm intrigued on how many people, if you're in the 70s, let's leave the G7 73 uncommons to one side for now, right? How many people have got the strongest interceptor FKR they have, the strongest explorer FKR they have, and the strongest battleship FKR they have maxed? So, for example, do you have loads of people going Crancher? Let's assume loads of people max their Crancher. Have you looked at the other two and went, I'm maxing those? Not even close to max. But how strong are they?
So,
Crisito, go for it.
so here's where the dilemma is going to come into play,
Yeah,
right? So because of how G6 was structured, and because of the fact that you had the interceptor strike teams,
yeah,
most folks took in G6 and went interceptors all the way.
yeah, agreed. Yeah,
I don't know if that was the move, but okay, they did.
yeah,
Something that I've been kind of pitching for a very long time, and especially in G7, is you can do that, but it's really, in my mind, you take the uncommon's going to feed you. If you look at the hostage you got to kill, right? It's an interceptor for the feds right now.
yeah,
You kill that, it's going to give you then the parts that you use for your next ship, for your
yeah,
battleship. That's
true.
going to give you the parts for you there. So if you took that path, you should naturally be able to, and I think I've heard Rev, and I don't know if he's there, but I know we've talked in the past where
Yeah,
maybe for your uncommons, you get up to the point where you need the rare parts. And then maybe that's the time to jump up to the next one, right? So you can
yeah,
kind of save yourself a little bit of RSS and a little bit of mats. But that's generally what they're in my mind, I'm seeing is take the uncommon, follow that same rare, follow that same epic.
yeah,
In G7 or G6, it was possible for you to go ahead and take all the interceptor routes. And so now you have players that unfortunately are stuck with their epic, or they skipped them all the way, and now they don't have one of each ship type as they go up through the ranks. And
yeah,
I think that's what Scopely right now, if you look at events, hey guys, you got to go kill things with an interceptor. You got to go kill things with an explorer. And you
yeah.
got to go kill things with a battleship at your level.
That is beautifully.
Nothing new.
Yeah, that is beautifully brought up. And Quasel, what are your thoughts being from the analytical side of it? Because I'm about to ask you the next question, which I think may shock the world. But there's a reason I'm talking about this. What are your thoughts?
I mean, first of all, to get a vengeance, there is a 12 enough on the epic. And I just looked at my maxed venture, and that's
Yeah,
not easy to get, versus my tier 5 vengeance, and that's 50% more hull, more than 50% more shields,
yeah,
7 times the dodge value for
wow,
mitigation.
yeah,
So the vengeance has its place. It all depends how quick can you get to the next ship.
yes,
It bridges the gap, and currently P7 is very slow in the beginning.
it's
Change, but at current point in time, with
yeah,
the current progression speed for non-big whales, low spenders, and even non-spenders, I wouldn't skip on the vengeance if you can get it slowly. and
Yeah.
I would work on it.
Yeah, 100% agree. You know, Choo Choo TX says all mine are max. Killer Angel says not max, but have 2 at tier 1 and 1 at tier 10. And remember, Killer Angels is coming from the 70s point of view. There's a few others that are saying, Flossy Bear says Cruncher Cube and NT max. Now, Flossie, the reason I asked this question is if there is an event, right, like currently, Scotty's research last week was Interceptor, Crystal, Klingon, right? So with the Interceptor at that time, everyone's probably going to comfortably do those. You can hit them quite high. Or use your Vengeance, for example. But if it was just FKR only, let's assume it's FKR only, that's where you go. This week, we've got the Romulans and battleships, right? So if you had a battleship, without using the cube, would you be able to kill as high as your Interceptor? And then the same question moves on to explorers and whether with Federation and gas, when it'll be next week, as we assume, are you able to use your Explorer to kill as high as you can with your Interceptor FKR? Do you think right now players should focus on having a good array of ships FKR-wise, because the surge research gives you 3,000%, loads of things give you loads of percentage. Do you think it's the time to start focusing on spread betting this and saying, cool, well, I need one of each really strong, all at G6. Boogeyman, for example, says on the top end of things, the Vengeance is much more beneficial than the Uncommon, it seems, for the Reds around the 73 range, which is true. But let's talk about FKRs. Now, when I throw that question in, Crisito, what are your thoughts regarding that?
So, okay, now I think one thing we've got to keep in mind
Yeah.
is that we are talking about it particularly from the 70 plus world. And I
Yes.
think that's naturally going to happen.
Yes.
Now, one thing that is interesting when you look at these events,
Yes.
because we know that the G6 ships, right, the FKR ones are garbage. Let's be fair, they're garbage.
Yeah.
A lot of players, yeah, I mean, let's be honest, right? A lot of players
Yeah.
chose to forego the faction ships,
Yeah.
at least in the early days, right? The 61, 66, they said, screw this. I'm going to go with explorers. I'm going to go, or I'm sorry, I'm going to go with the relativity. I'm going to go with
Yeah.
the GS31. They're going to do all of those. And that's great because they're actually better ships. Now, what's happening is because Scopely allowed that to happen and G6 to do the way it is, they've got to be very careful on how they work these events, especially for the players that are in G6. Because if it's you must have a federation ship that's this way, well, a lot of your low to mid spenders that didn't do that,
Yeah.
okay, you're hosed. Now, was that their choice? Sure. But Scopely definitely enabled them to do that,
True.
especially when they came out with one of each type of specialty ship, right?
Yeah.
That's important that they got to make sure they look back at.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, a few people have pointed something out, and I'm also pointing out from Killer Angel, who's 70 and brought this up as well. It'd be good that we need to be way more G6 materials to be able to round up all of these things. MJ Had says heroics have always hosed some folks, and we all know it's firing patterns when it comes to these things. I agree. I'm talking from a PVE point of view, where we allow people to do those things. If you jump onto the stage, just wait for me to point to you to be able to speak. Just give me a second. I know there's loads of people who want to get their opinions, and I'm going to allow everybody to do so. But I want to get some of the chat stuff, people who can't do it. Shelby says, for example, that I have 7 of them max, which is absolutely ridiculous. Jay Burke says the crunch has mat enter T4, tier 14 and tier 8 on the Scimitar. It just shows that there is an imbalance because they're pushing people to go up really fast in ops levels, and no one is trying to balance the ships they have. Like for me, the way I am right now is that I have got one of each G6 epics almost maxed. And it's something that I've always done. I was like, cool, well, I'm going to get the COTA and use that. That's amazing. And I just naturally the way that I sort of did those things. I would love to hear from Sniper regarding this as well. Now you've heard a few points, Sniper. What are your thoughts? Because I know you've got limited time.
Yeah, I think Crisito makes like some really good points, and I think there's a disconnect, honestly, of what Scopely thinks players do and thinks players should do versus what players actually do, right?
Yes.
And to be perfectly honest, like I think most players that certainly I've talked to that I know of, right?
Yeah.
Aside from mat spend events and things of that nature, are going to, at any given point in the game, have one best ship, biggest ship, right? They're going to
Yes.
have their main ship, right? Whatever that means. Maybe it's an FKR, maybe it's a specialty ship,
Yeah.
maybe it's the Cube, maybe it's the Vengeance, right?
Yeah.
But they're generally speaking going to have one ship that's going to just be better than all the rest of the ships that they have. And most people, I would think, are not going to necessarily build all three faction ships, right?
Yes.
The reason why a lot of people currently who are G7 players, especially, or even in the 70s right now, or in like 70, have multiple epic ships is because the servers were not unlocked for a long time, right? G7 didn't come out, right?
True. True. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Exactly.
a lot of people reached 70 and had nothing else to do but build another epic ship. So that's why people like Shelby you mentioned has 7 of them, right? Because I'm sure he built those because he had nothing else to spend on and needed to win some spend SLBs, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a unique case where those of us who were 70 for some period of time before G7 unlocked, built multiple epics and probably, one of each kind. And I think that often happens for previous generations. Like, so when, people were G6, they often went back and built 3 G5, uh, epics, or went back and built 3 G4 epics, so once you're past that level and it becomes cheaper to build, you go back sometimes for whatever reason, spend event or collectors reasons or whatever, and go back and build them. But when you're at that progression level, when that's the top for you, like you're generally going to put all your efforts into a best ship. You're not going to be like, okay, hey, I just reached 70. Let me simultaneously build 3 ships to the same tiering level. Like, so I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm going to get all of them to tier 5, and now I'm going to get all of them to tier 10. Like, that just doesn't happen realistically for most players. I mean, there may be some who do it, but I think like 80% of the players are not going to do that.
Yeah, true, and it's 80% of the players are not going to do that. But what I'm trying to get to is you might have to think of your account as a more of a balanced thing, and focus on what if there were events, right? Let's just say there's events. This is not going to happen. This is hypothetical, as much as I'm saying with this. Imagine events where basically you cannot use any specialty ship and you're stuck with FKRs. Do you have the enough strength of FKRs to be able to do the event if it's a battleship-based event, an interceptor-based event, or a explorer-based event without using specialty ships? And that is going to be quite important to sort of figure out. And we'll see how that it sort of works out. Yes, Crisito, what do you think then?
That's asking for chaos and a nightmare.
Yeah, chaos and a nightmare, but are you ready? Like, are you physically ready as a player if you had to do one of each? Taco, you can go first because I haven't allowed you on, and then I'll start going to the other people as well. Yeah, go on, Taco.
I think if the events were not too tough, I think the everyday players could do it. But what I think what if it is a event that's difficult, I think what they're gonna do is try to kill the smaller hostiles
Yeah, true.
and take the longer route to get there.
Yeah, true.
People complain about it too.
But what if you had to sort of follow on your specific hostile? So Jim PI on Twitch says it's probably less than 10% of up 70 players that have all 3 FKRs at a good tier. They're vocal and engaged, but I bet that's a small group. If this is and that's, for example, the Orion difficulty, which allowed to that. McShiz says even once I get my GS maxed out, it'll take a while probably to crank out enough to really rock out enough parts for all of that. Rage Starve says also the Grand Formada payout if you get your Rialta is definitely good, but then I'm going with FKRs here. MJ Hat doesn't think that everybody will have it. Sugar Red Lentless on Twitch says an event structure that prioritizes having every ship at your level is impractical. No one has the materials to build 3 ships to a new ops. Yeah, but I'm not saying that they don't have to be 3 G6 epics. They could be like a rare one as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you went with one faction, you'll have 1 uncommon, 1 rare, and 1 epic of a ship type. If you just followed one faction, and that's the way you went with it, like Crisito said earlier. Yeah, what do you think, Crisito?
Well, so here's the thing. Not that I disagree with what their concept or what their vision may want they want to do,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
However, unless you were right, go back to the G3 days, right?
Yeah.
When it first came out in 1920, that's kind of how it was, right? You follow that pattern.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that over the last 4 to 5 years, they have allowed the game to stray away from what their main mission, right? The FKR type stuff. They've allowed it to go there. So if they want to go back to that direction, that's fine. What
Yeah.
they need to do is bake in the time for these players to do that, right? If they come out and say, guess what, guys?
Yeah.
We are going to, over the next year or two, get back to FKR as the main quest in the game. So you might need to start doing this.
Yeah.
In the meantime, as long as it's an interceptor that you're using, we'll let you kill it. We're going to give you a bonus for using faction chips, but you're going to be able to still complete the event if you can kill things at your level. You just get to do it faster with the faction. If they take that approach, I think then it makes everybody kind of happy.
Yeah.
Because you're not, and I'm going to hear, right? You're going to see it. You're not punishing the folks there, but you're giving them a bonus for following the pattern you want. And
Sure.
if Scopely follows that, you can now, over the next year or two, get to that model that they wanted.
Well, yeah, let's assume that doesn't happen because they're never going to give us something in advance. What I'm trying to guide you towards is if I were you, I'd focus on getting one of each as high as possible, as strong as possible. Valhalla King is on Twitch first time chatter. Valhalla, is it right? It's your birthday soon, buddy. Just confirm to me. If it is, I've got a little gift for you, by the way. And he says he has all three G6 epics, tier 13 Cruncher, and the others are tier 6, which is absolutely great. Simpoli is here. He's saying hello before he goes to bed. Simpoli, you should be fixing the lag and not going to bed. So I don't think you're allowed to go to bed. You should be fixing the lag. That's more important. We're talking... It's my birthday again, Stewie Doo. No, it's your smoke alarm that's not working. Halo says on Discord, my vengeance is 375 billion. Max Enterprise is 148 billion. And Trash Panda says he hears no one but me at the moment because I'm the only one speaking. Fake Panda. Has people lost all audio? No, it's probably human error. Human error on Discord. Sorry. Nigel is 100 years old. Yes, I probably do sound 100 years old. I will look into the Twitch thing right now. I'm just focusing. Simpoli, our legendary CM, is on Twitch, so I would go there and have a chat with him. The subject we're speaking about is whether you should balance your FKRs. Now, they're never going to give you a heads up because, for example, the Scottys research event, we didn't even know it's happening, and now you're suddenly going, oh, they've done Interceptor week 1. You know, it's now Battleship week 2, and then it's suddenly it's going to be Explorer week 3. It's really, really important. Hey, Jess, Data Jess, how you doing? Sandra. Paulie only loves Sandra, doesn't love Nigel, but that's okay. That's fine. The most important thing for people is the reason I want to have this conversation about FKRs is that surge research, if you're starting to get towards the 70, 71 mark, and you've collected all the stuff, is important to give you a boost. If you are under that level, I would make sure your 66 rares are really strong, all FKRs. If you're under that level, I'll make sure your 63 uncommons are really strong. If you're under that level, so on and so forth. Work your way all the way down to that. SS Jetek, who on Twitch says, I'm up 68 with only the uncommon battleship, planning on building all 3 G6 epics when I hit 70. That's good planning. G-Tech, I would make sure you get there, and I'm giving you time and telling you that I would, if I were you, go into that route, because I think it'll be a very good route, which will be very important. And that will be great. Valhalla, it does have his birthday. Valhalla, DM me on Discord. I've got a little prize for you for your birthday, which I think will be great. Not Fake Panda, Trash Panda. I just thought I'd just check whether you can hear me. Well, it's bonus point for using classes as ships. They can still do it a regular way. True. I'm telling you that if I were you, I'd have a balanced account. And you would focus incredibly hard on that, on making sure you've got balance. I'm just giving you that, which is true. That Beach Whale says it's his birthday as well. DM me if it's truly your birthday. I've got a little gift. But Valhalla King, I want to make sure I do that. But I'm going to run out of stuff to hand out to people at this rate. Halo says the problem is you won't have one of each unless you max your reps. Yeah, a lot of people got the max cube, right, Cruzito? They got the max cube and went, I don't need a battleship anymore. Now they got the max vengeance and went, I don't need a interceptor anymore. And now you're suddenly stuck a little bit.
Yeah, and I think to Halo's point, right? So I think one of the things, and again, G6 ruined a lot of stuff. Let's just be fair.
Yeah.
We're seeing it a little bit in G7. Players are still kind of, I'm gonna dual rep grind, I'm gonna do this, right? I think and Scopely can't get out of their way on this. And kind of where I was talking about, they need to give us the vision.
Yeah.
A broad statement of over the next couple of years, this is the direction we're going. We might shift a little left, a little right on that, but this is the direction we're going. If something like that, it lets the players now understand why they're making the decisions they are.
Yeah.
But to Halo's point, yeah, everybody goes and skips all the ships. They're going to skip the uncommon or the rare because they have their specialties. They get to the top. And now, as I think that was you, Beach Whale, that might have said that, or even Sniper that said, you have the player that's going to have their one strong ship versus let me build my uncommon, let me build my rare, let me do that. That's what it used to be in G3, G4, G5. G6 ruined it completely because the ships were garbage. And now in 7, I don't know, they seem a little bit better.
Yeah.
But right. So I think that's, again, if they want to go in that direction, I think the players will adjust with it if they're giving them the long-term vision of where they're going. You can't just spring it upon them and say, look, guys,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing. And it's going to be okay for players that haven't gone there yet.
Yeah.
But the players that are there now,
Yeah.
they're going to be very angry. Like, what do you mean I got to go now build a G6 rare? Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. No, that's
Right?
true.
Like,
Yeah, true. Captain Chris Pike, jump on, buddy. Sorry, I didn't give you the time.
That's okay. So I'm again, I agree with a lot of what folks
Brilliant.
are saying, but at the end of the day, it's really an individual journey.
Yes.
I can see it going. I see the point that that Sniper was just making with them kind of trying to announce it and kind of coach us towards a goal that they have in mind.
Yeah.
But at this point, I think the player base is still pretty irritated with the way the goals have been presented and how they've been followed through to date.
Yeah.
So I think in the end, again, I don't want to recap very much more of what
No.
was already said, but
No, please do.
the G6 experience was basically that of. But by the way, I'm a G7 player with a vengeance, but
Yeah.
so I've been through all of it. But the G6 experience, I am fairly balanced. I don't have all the G6 epics maxed because there wasn't a need to, and I hold them back because I use them for the mat spend because
Of course.
everything else is mostly is maxed, right? If I have to spend G7 materials to do an event, yeah, I can bang it out pretty fast depending on what the event is, but you're balancing all the different things. That's what I do. I think the game was meant to be in balance. Well, it is now. I think we forget that the game originally wasn't. It was the thought was that we would go one faction all the way.
Yeah, true.
And when they introduced the locking that has happened through the faction,
beautifully said. Yeah,
that really allowed us to expand into the other ships. And that sort of happened effectively around, between G4 and G5. And so since then, folks have kind of taken a stance one way or the other. And those that don't spend a lot, typically they focus on, they try and see if they can skip the uncommon by doing the epic ship of the previous generation, and then trying to go to the rare if they're, again, trying to save costs, and they pick the one that they think is going to be, again, and the game has favored Interceptor as of late, right? Has favored pretty well the Interceptor, along with the cube kind of following suit, because you need one of the FKRs in order to move the cube up through the path.
True.
So that's why G5 happened that way. And then G6 has happened that way. And so I think what I'm seeing on my server a lot is that's what folks are doing. So they focus very heavily on the Interceptor. They brought up their cube, and now they're kind of sitting there going, well, how long will it take me to get to that next level? And I have quite a few 70s on my server, probably more than most.
Yeah.
And we're all looking at that faction rep requirement,
Oh yeah,
and it's a big step to get there. And unless you're willing to like buy, spend about $500, I think it is a week, whatever, in faction packs,
yeah,
you're not. I mean, you can. I don't care who you are. I mean, there's a lot of people grinding and trying to find different ways of grinding. Again, I appreciate the notes on the Dauntless and this new CT tool. I'm gonna
yeah,
try and see what that does for me.
yeah,
While I'm busy doing it in G7 space. But it's a quite a climb, and I think the other part to this is that there's a little disenchantment in the journey here. Like,
yeah.
okay, so what is it? What is it? What I'm constantly chasing something, and what is it? And I guess that's really the question I have is, it's a little different for everyone.
Yeah.
I'm a Star Trek fan. I'm on this. I don't know that I would have ended up on this game if not for the combination of COVID
Yeah.
and the fact that I love this IP. Right, we were all stuck at home and we needed stuff to do. We wanted a community that engaged with, and that's why I think I mean I talk to all these. I'm on Discord with my players.
Yeah.
I'm currently admiral but I was also in leadership of the largest alliance that's on Starfleet Command.
Oh, right. Lovely.
Previously, so I talked to this community quite a bit, and we're sitting there, and it is a community. That's why we're here, and I kind of love the game. We like the IP. We're challenged at times with the concepts that Scopely comes up with. I kind of go, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't help me telling over the years. I went, okay, that sounds like a good idea, but then the execution falls flat. And,
yeah.
and that happens so often that's I'm not gonna. I don't want to rehash the past, but
No.
the point is,
Yeah.
that's the challenge, the credibility, and this is what's happening. There's this feeling from the community. Now, I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be negative, but this is what I hear.
No,
And to some degree, I agree. Okay, you're telling me this is good, like G5, G6 scrapping. When is that going to happen? Right? Everybody feels like it's being avoided because Scopely wants the money and wants to push us through this effort and make everybody kind of go through it.
Yeah.
And I have to agree to some degree that is the case. I mean, if they really focused on it, they could come up with a translation or a whatever you want to call it, the monetary conversion to figure out what that needs to be.
Yeah.
And they've just chosen not to.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Very good sentiments. This is why this is the voice of the players. I always allow people to voice that opinion, and it's good you represent a set of the community as well. Also, condolences on that because I know it's like being an admiral. But it's the most important part is you're heard in that feedback, and also I would suddenly start telling your alliance teammates, like I'm doing with mine, saying, "Hey guys, I think you need to find more balance." And like previously, remember when I told people that what does completion mean? And I described what completion is. I'm doing the same thing here by saying, if I were you, I would suddenly try and educate your rest of your alliance in being a bit more balanced with regards to things they do. I know that's really important to jump in. Big Bad D, sorry, I haven't given you a chance to jump in yet, buddy. Is there something you'd like to say as well with regards to this subject? Then that would be great because I'd love to move it to another specific question. And that's the what she. Yeah, go on, Big Bad D, buddy. Go on.
All right. I mean, everything everybody's saying is, pretty much straight to the point.
Yeah.
I myself am a collector of sorts.
Yeah.
So I picked up the ships as I went along. I did wait till I get to 70 and went back and got some of the other ships that I didn't get because of cost, basically.
Yeah.
And now I have all three faction epics.
Yeah.
But I'm a small 71. My biggest epic is only 13.
But that's good. That's good. Like for me, at least you have all three epics, and even as your biggest ones, 13, 8, and 6, for example, that's still a good thing. You have started your
more like 15, 6, and 4 or something like that.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And then save it. The reason I'm telling you, you've got COTA coming, right? You've got a few spend material events. I'm just guiding you saying, if I were you, I'd spend those events on focusing on like upgrading those things a little bit at a time. Just say, okay, this time I'll do the Scimitar. Next time I'll do the Enterprise. Now we'll do that. And if you're an Ops 60, same thing again. And if you're an Ops 50, same again. 51 plus. I would just focus on, hey, I'm going to use the events to just, just drip feed these little ships all the way through. And I think having a balanced FKR setup is quite important. But what do you think, Big Bad D? Anything else you'd like to jump in with like that before we move to Cruzito?
But the other thing is you got to have one max epic in order to move your cube up.
Sure.
So with the bottleneck of trit and materials, without spending a lot of money, because I am a mild spender at most, especially ever since last year.
Yeah.
I just don't have the spare cash.
Yeah.
I've always been a grinder. I don't care if it's a ridiculous amount of kills. Give me a grind event so I can earn decent rewards instead of these trickles and having to pay $100 for this, $100 for that, $100 for this. I mean, Christ, unless you have all the efficiencies totally maxed, you can't even get enough material in a pack to upgrade a gun.
Yeah, true.
So,
yeah, I mean, and look, those updates will come, Big Bad D. I'm just trying to sort of guide people, saying your material spend and everything should be towards your FKR ships to get balance and to prepare yourself and get yourself ready. Cruzito, go ahead with that. Sorry, Big Bad D, I'll come to you in a second.
So one of the things, Nigel, that I think Scopely could kind of assist with this, right? Because I hear what you're saying. Like, you need to work your FKRs. You need to do that, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that if they truly want us to go down a single faction, maybe a secondary, with the rep and how it is they could easily go into something like faction wars, right? And I think I've raised this up before where, you can sit there and be like, all right, if you lock your faction, you're going, if you pick this one, then you get to go and join in these events as that faction. And then you can go work that, and depending on how it gets, it could be something similar to that, which then would allow the players to recognize, well, I got to build that uncommon. I got to do this other thing, and I go there, right? It gives them another opportunity to then protect themselves from what we're seeing right now, which is skip the uncommon, jump to the rare, or do this or do that, and then later they get kicked in the teeth because they didn't follow it through as you go, right? I mean, there are the collectors that are going to do it all, but sometimes players need that a little bit of assistance of, hey man, I'm going to let you be open with your account and do the things you want to do, but it's kind of supposed to go in this direction. We're going to give you guardrails, and those guardrails could be cool little fun type of things that nudge you in those directions and help with that.
Yeah, true. Let's give Shockwave Prime a bit of a moment before Captain Chris Pike and Big Bad D. And yes, Potts, it looks like the Brady Bunch, because what I'm trying to do is to voice the players. So all the players from every single part is allowed to have a conversation here. And I do not mute anybody for that. If you're just mute yourself, I will unmute you when you're ready. Shockwave Prime, please go ahead, buddy.
So I think, too, what we have to realize when we talk about balance in the game is that Scopely themselves, or at least the Star Trek Fleet Command portion of Scopely, has kind of contradicted that a little bit by saying we want you to be balanced because they gave us a one-hit wrecking ball called the Vengeance. And everything that, because it takes so much Sigmatrit and because it takes other G6 resources, after you max out your one G6 epic, you then use the Vengeance, which, oh, by the way, was touted as the ship for elite commanders. And then so much so that they even nerfed the cube with other researches. So, it's one of those things where, they would like us, you're sitting here telling us to have, maybe higher explorers and higher battleships of the faction persuasion. But really, it's kind of a victim of their own circumstances because they gave us the Vengeance, something that's much more powerful than any of the FKR ships. And because it does work on the G6 economy, if you wanted to do a maxed Crenshaw, which I did, then everything else has to go into the Vengeance because of just the sheer amount of resources that it takes. So
agreed.
It's kind of come almost full circle now to where it's too late to really start be investing again in a G6 epic if you don't have one already, because the Vengeance is going to be the bridge to that 73 uncommon. So it's really them, and I appreciate you giving this warning, I really do, or this heads up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Scopely has then really created a paradox because of the circumstances in which the Vengeance operates.
Yeah, true. And I will get deeper into that. Big Bad D, anything to finish off your side? There's a few people that want to jump on the stage, so I'm going to have to knock people off. But yes, Big Bad D, any last thoughts before we move on, buddy?
No, it's this game is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yes, agreed.
Unless you got a black X, which I do not.
Yeah.
And it's all about how you want to play.
True, agreed.
I'm finally getting to where I can do my dailies. It takes a few trips, but I can get them done.
That's good.
And still not great, but they could use more nodes or secondary systems. That would be great, not just ones that are way out there until you're 72 or 73. But other than that, I'm other than the malfunctions have been happening in the past few days, the game has been more fun in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I think that's
a challenge.
Yeah, the challenge is good. There's a quite critical thing about challenge. Thanks, Big Bad D, for doing that. I'm going to give Dr. Iron Chef, thank you very much for the bits. I really appreciate them. I know this is on Twitch and no one's really doing anything. More people are interested in listening to this very critical content. I'm not giving you a heads up, Shockwave, Rob. I'm just saying you're going to need balance quite critically. I'd love to hear from KJ, because KJ's been on the patiently waiting for a while, and then we'll go to George, KJ, because you and George match each other quite well. KJ, your thoughts regarding everything I've brought up. Please ask some questions in return.
Did you just say that me and George match each other very well?
Yes.
That was a funny little jab. I mean,
Don't hurt me.
Here to be 100% honest. I don't really have too much of a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with looking at events saying, okay, I have to kill a 71 with a battleship. I don't have a battleship that can kill a 71.
Yeah.
That event's not for me. I don't have a problem saying that.
Yeah.
If I don't get that day's rewards, that's okay. I don't get that day's rewards.
Yes.
I am still on my path. I have a tier 12 Enterprise E. It takes me 5 trips to do my dailies.
Okay.
I'm completely fine with that. That's a choice that I made. I am not going to rush or spend anywhere just to see a green check mark next to an event. That's not my style.
Yeah, which is also great feedback for people that, last month we were talking about what completion is. This month we're talking about, hey, maybe you should find more balance in your account. And that will lead to various things. George, very, very calmly, jump on and ask your question, buddy. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm very calmly. I mean, I liked everybody's feedback. They're talking. I personally am a Federation player.
Boo.
I only have Federation chips.
Okay.
I hate the other colors of the other factions.
Oh dear.
But at the other end, I do have a rare Titan, and I have killed now level 71s in the Veil and G7. But because I have research done, I don't progress chip only. I progress with my research, meaning favors, FC, everything else. So I know what my strength is.
Yeah, exactly, and that's good. There's a lot of
one thing, like we need a chip to be higher is only 1/8 of a thing. You need to see how good is your research. I mean, since the surge, I got all my surges done.
Yeah.
Waiting to join B73 and start the next step. All my ships that even were weaker are stronger.
Yeah, no, I agree. Research is quite important. So there's a balance. Again, balance. Do everything so that you get everything that That's really important for you. You know, you've got people like Mashed Potato says, I'm being in the minority here, but I find the VGer content quite manageable. Never had a problem with it. Yeah, probably because of the vengeance. I'm the same. There's some people. Dragon Keeper says, what is a surge? I say, Dragon Keeper, it's something that you should be doing every single day. If we have any lower or mid ops players that want to jump on the stage, please put your hand up. I'd love to hear from you. I think it's really important to get the feedback from you guys as well, because it's quite important to hear from all the different types of players and everything that we've got to do, which is you know, I just want to make sure that everyone's heard, because I think it's quite important to see where the balance is. Ascendancy says on Discord there's a balance, and then there is designing content that events are not playable. I agree. I think the VGer content Orions is very difficult, and I think there is a difference between a challenge and having fun and it being impossible. And I think between the 67s to the 71s that don't have the vengeance are struggling. And they need to look at the Orions and specifically with regards to that, because that's very important. That I know loads of CCs have said, yes, we love a challenge. Yes, players do love a challenge. But the problem is, someone brought up really well, I can't remember if it's Jim PI or someone else said something really unique and said, to make it challenging for me as an Op 72, 73 and make it less hard for everybody else is difficult because I find it all easy. And the problem is, when you make it that hard for them, you forget the balance between the 67, 68, 69, 70. And the same thing again with the 56s, 57s, 58s, 59s as well. Don't you agree, Quasel? I think and we find that we can't, the crewing situation becomes quite difficult at that point. And we need to balance our feedback to everyone. Yeah.
Yep. The problem is that we have a wide range of players, and it's almost impossible to balance against.
Yeah.
I fear, because, you know, some people skipped a lot of stuff, others didn't. Some play the fast ops progression game, others don't.
Yeah.
So they try to be very carefully what they expect from players.
Yeah.
And maybe ease them into it if there's a change coming, because you clearly have something in mind I don't know about.
No, it's
used a certain way, and
yeah, I think
can't suddenly, you know.
Yeah, no, you're right, Quasel. The reason is, last month I tried to explain to people what completion is so that they understand better. Spectre brings up a good point. It's like, it's not designed with free to play in mind. I will tell you this, Spectre, a lot of it will be free to play. I'm just trying to guide players on preparing. My job is to tell you, well, job is quite a loose word, but my determination is to get you prepared and going. If I were you, I'd try and find more balance just so you are ready for whatever comes. Chris Pike, you want to say something as well, buddy, and then we'll jump to Velvet Thunder. Go on, Chris Pike. Yeah.
So they don't. Again, this is a pretty good conversation. So overall, I think this is obviously everybody has their path. George obviously likes the Fed ships. That's great. I've actually always approached the game from a very balanced perspective. So I make sure that all of my epic ships throughout all of the generations are maxed.
Yes.
I can't say the same for all of the other ships in the space.
Yeah.
So it depended on where I was. Sometimes I rarely did maxed any uncommon, because most people would found that the G6, any generational epic was superior once it was maxed to the uncommon ships.
Yeah.
I did have uncommon ship to step me into each of the spaces. A lot of that was warp range, blah, blah, blah.
Brilliant.
So of course I personally, my vengeance isn't maxed yet. I'm one of the players that's like, you know what? Can't appreciate everything. I appreciate what Scopely's trying to do, but it's, I think, about the journey.
Yes.
And somebody mentioned a marathon versus a sprint.
Yes.
You could try and taste everything, but those are the people that get burnt out. We've had a lot of players that, so I have lower level players in my alliance, and I have power players as well, if that's what you want to call them, or people that a good friend of mine says, I like the shortcuts, which is what spending means for him, right?
Yeah.
So those are the shortcuts, right?
Yeah.
And some people in their lives, they want the shortcuts, and other people don't. Some want, I think there's a couple things going on. You're bringing up questions of balance. I'm kind of questioning one of the things that they're constantly fighting on.
Yeah.
is how long are our eyeballs glued to a screen, because this was a mobile game.
Yes,
and that's
true.
why I touched upon the COVID thing way back, because we had our eyeballs on. We had nothing better to do than keep our eyeballs on this game all day long.
True.
But it's evolved from a mobile game to really all the platforms, as far as I'm concerned, that you could play it on.
Yeah.
And so I have free to play players that are in the alliance, and these guys love the grinding, love the more events. And in fact, the one negative I would say to this arc,
yeah,
if you want to take it back, and again, I know people, and it's kind of funny, but when you hear from a free to play player's point of view,
yes,
when there's more of like the Ferengi thing that just got added, right? This last couple of days. So now that that's been added, there's a battle pass for that.
Yes.
Now, the players that spend money go, oh man, they want more money for me to do another battle pass. But the free to play players are going, well, this is more stuff that we can earn by grinding.
Yeah, true.
Right?
True.
Because that's a track that they're doing the same thing, but they're getting more. Right? Now, they never intended to spend necessarily. Okay?
Yeah.
But maybe they would, depending on what those rewards are below. And that's what that's really the stance between the two kind of players there. Like, you got the guys that are just going to spend anyways.
Yeah.
And then you got the ones that don't want to spend. And then there's some in between going, well, that makes sense for me. I can make that marginal spend to get that extra stuff, because I was doing the work anyway. Okay, I'm involved in the game. So the most important thing that I think happens here is, and I understand the concept of the arc, and a lot of I call arcs the distraction. It's really the Scopely distraction, because the FKR is really the main mission, and everything else is, well, either you have the shortcut players that are like, well, I'm bored now. I need something to do because I blew through everything. I blew through all the shortcuts, and now I'm all the way up to, again, I'm not knocking anybody. This is just me.
Yeah.
Right. I got to the end of that milestone. Yeah. Effectively. Right. And now I need something else to do. Well, that's what the arc is giving them. And then you've got your lower level players that are going, well, I need a boost up because I'm looking at everybody above me and I want to participate.
True.
And I want to make this very clear. This is an MMO game. One of the biggest things that I think they're forgetting is we need to figure out ways to help the group participate. That's what I hear from my smaller players. So I think it's great. So I have an account just like you, Nigel. I have an account that's lower and higher. So I can see how this mid-tier arc, whatever they're referring to, this two different arc process that they've been doing for lower level ops players.
True.
So they're participating, and they want to benefit the group, but in some cases, those arc events, right, are as an alliance, are different for the lower level players than it is for the higher ops players.
Yes.
But in the end, what everybody really wants, and I get it, I understand the reasoning for that, right? Because you've got these that point that you made. So I've got these higher end players that are like, well, this is easy. I got vengeance, boom, I blew right through. It doesn't matter. Once I dialed in the right crew, I was killing Orions like it was nothing. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Then really, honestly, the fun came in going to my lower level players, trying to help them dial in their crews based on their ship, based on their research, so that they could get it done.
Yeah.
But there were some that just couldn't. At the end of the day, we did all the different things we could think of, and we just couldn't get it done for them.
True.
And that's where I think the frustration comes in. People love a puzzle. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the exploration part of, and the curiosity part of the Federation, right? In Starfleet, right? The curiosity is what brings us out here, right? To look at and find strange new worlds and communicate and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's the puzzle. People don't mind that as long as they recognize that there's a puzzle.
That's true.
I brought this up in the players. When they released at the beginning of the arc, this, change of hostiles.
Yes.
If they had made it a puzzle in the beginning, well, each day it's going to be a different one. And each day you're going to have to figure out how you're going to tweak your crew.
True.
Right? To win it. Okay, then everybody would have been thinking that way through the whole thing. Then when the second part of the arc came, and because you didn't have to do that, you just could set a crew, and then everybody was like, okay, once I dialed that in, that's it.
Yeah.
Then everybody got frustrated when the second part of the arc came out.
Yeah.
Because now they threw in a hostile that's different than all the others.
Yeah.
Now again, I personally, because this is how I have fun, it's engaging with the community, trying to help my players figure out how they can get it done. Okay. And then at some point, you got to kind of put your hands up and go, well, you just can't. You're not there yet.
Yeah, true.
Okay. We need to look at your ships. We need to look at the research. We need to look at some of the other things. And that's what's driving that's in theory is what drives the player
Yes.
to do things, whether that's to spend money to catch up,
Yes.
whether it's to grind more or spend more time. At the end of the day, most of these games want to have your eyeballs on them,
Yeah.
right? The more time you spend, the better. And I think that you got to, I believe in balance for all things. I think you have to balance for all of it. You're going
Yes.
to have your shortcut player, and then you're going to have those people that really have the time to grind. Okay.
Yeah.
I also poll the audience to get a sense of what age is everybody that's playing this game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
you know, and I mean, and this is a plight for the IP in itself, right? They're trying to figure out how do we bring in fresh, younger eyeballs to the IP so
Yes.
that they can. Then that's why Academy. I'm not going to digress into all that.
No, it's true.
That is something that I think the IP speaks for itself. I think there's a large enough international base for this, but at the end of the day, we need to find ways to engage the community in the playing.
Yeah.
It needs to have a puzzle.
Yes.
And again, that may be a different solution for a higher level player, or I don't want to call it high level. I hate even using that. I keep trying to change that.
Yeah.
Higher ops player versus a lower ops player. We're all players. We're all trying to enjoy the game. We're all trying to get something out of it. This is a pastime, so I get the balance, the work-life balance that people need to have too.
Yeah, true.
But I think that the puzzle is creating a curiosity, creating puzzles, trying to figure out, like, I personally think that the game should be based on missions.
Yeah.
Really going around just like the IP is. Every day you looked at a Stargate and it was, this is what's happening. This is what I'm trying to fix. This is what I've got to deal with today.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and so there's something that comes from that. Like, hey, I've got to go. I mean, I love the ability to explore galaxies and figure out places that I can't get to without figuring out the puzzle.
Yeah, no, true, and I think you put a lot of great points across. I want to get a little bit in from the chat. Pot says, as a 67 to 69 ops may be struggling, but it's because of their own doing. A tier 14 plus relativity can do up to 69s on the Orions, and the 70s easy for others. You can max the relativity at op 67, so you don't need faction nor the cube now. At op 70 may be a different issue. There may be a gap from op 69 to shipyard 70, and also mid-tiered G6 epic, but the gap is not as big as most CCs are touting. It's not big. It's literally 70 ops that don't have the tier 6 plus G6 epic, and the ops 71 that don't have the vengeance or the G7 uncommon. These are the only two impossible zones in the Orions, and those are really important points that Putz brings up. Putz has always did that, and it's very nicely put together, Captain Chris Pike. I really enjoyed that style of feedback. But Dragon Keeper is like, why can't they just give us a PP that gives us loads of ship bots? Because that's something they want you to have a bottleneck on, which is why the G6 ship bot converter is there, which is really good. Velvet Thunder, do you want to jump on and bring your thoughts in? And I'll see if I can bring a mid-ops player as well.
Yeah. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've sort of touched on what I was going to mention earlier. It's the 67s, the 71s. They're just getting frustrated at the minute. Especially the ones that are not on Discord.
Yeah.
Don't follow content creators, which is the vast majority of players in the game.
Yeah.
If Scope to go down this route of you need a FKR battle crypt, you need an FKR explorer.
Yeah.
It's going to screw over a lot of players, me included.
Yeah.
Because I generally get one ship and go all in.
Yeah. Nice.
So
yeah.
I don't generally build three and keep them even, which a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Even going back further, G5 players aren't building their uncommons.
Yeah.
They aren't building the rares. They're using the protector to get to the epics. And G6 are using the relativity to blast right through and get to the epics.
Yeah.
It's gonna lead to a lot of frustration, and the way things have been going, really, people leaving.
Yeah, true, and it's quite difficult. I mean, you can tell the frustrations and everything that's happening, and this is why I've opened this up more towards so that if and when or whenever they do decide to listen to any of these type of things, Scopely can then go, we're hearing this from 10, 11, 12 different players of different ops levels. They go, wow, that's the best feedback you can ever get from having those opinions in different ways. And that's really important to sort of bring up Velvet Thunder. Even people from Scotland are allowed. Do you know what I mean? From Fort William or wherever it is. Yeah, you sound really chicken Werenfe. It sounds like you're Edinburgh Plus. You're way up there. So, which is kind of cool. It's one of my favorite places to be, actually, to be honest with you. One of my favorite films I ever did was in Scotland, in Glasgow. So, which is kind of cool. But yeah, your point is superb, buddy.
I'm much farther north than Glasgow. So.
Yeah. Fort William, Drumsiny. I remember being to Drumsiny, which is really, really far. See, that's quite huge and quite insane, which is absolutely great. So thanks, buddy. That's a good point to sort of bring in. I'd love to, unless you want to finish off, Bud, I'd love to bring Relentless on the stage, buddy, because you're on Op 69, Relentless. Just to give you your opportunity to say your thought. How you doing, bud?
Hey, how we doing, Nigel?
Yeah, good.
So
yeah.
This I gotta update this. I just went 70 3 weeks ago.
Nice. Okay, good.
So T6 Epic, Cube 16 Cube.
Nice.
Keeping up with the Orions and the Vija stuff, no problem.
That's good.
I'm really big on making the push, trying to stay on the edge of what I can do.
Great.
I'm about 67 days away from 71.
Ooh.
Box ticket.
Nice.
I mean, I'm that one button press away from turning my game potentially upside down.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from this, build a balanced, balanced shipyard and make sure you've got one of this and one of that, is I've been 70 for less than a month.
Oh wow. Yeah.
I can kill 71s with my cube, with the relativity. My probably by this weekend, the Crenshaw will be able to take down one or two. But if the next bit of content says you should stay at 70, and the next bit of content says you should stay at 70,
yeah,
or you're not going to get your dailies done, and you're not going to compete with, be able to do events. The game right now is, the feedback I'm getting from Discord and from the game itself is saying slow down.
Yeah.
But that's not what I do.
Yeah, true.
I'm potentially going to make my life more difficult just as soon as that clock runs out, press the button and deal with it.
Yeah, I'm
about to say, Reckless, there's a difference between 71 hostiles in the G6 faction space and 71 hostiles in the margins in the Veil by about a margin of 10.
Yeah.
And the only way to find that out in practice is to be able to do it.
No, go up there. You can go up there as a 70.
Oh no, I can kill the margin. I can kill the margin stuff. I can do 71s, one or two. But
good.
Yeah, you're good.
But trying to do that and do the next, all right, the next bit of content.
Yeah.
If it's 5% harder, am I gonna, I can just barely get done the Vija Orion stuff.
Yeah.
I can do all the 71s except for the new guys, the Orions.
Yeah. Well,
I'm 5% away from that. If the next bit of content is 5% harder.
Yeah.
I'm stuck.
Yeah, it's not about 5% harder. I'm just advising people to have more balance. None of the CCs or anyone have actually seen what the next stuff is at the moment. So it's really important to just be ready with that, Relentless. Thank you very much for jumping on and saying those things. Any last thoughts? And then I'll start moving to the next phase of this. Sorry about, I want to make sure that Voice to Players is for Voice to Players, so it allows everybody to have their feedback in, and we can do it. And Blue Mandalorian, as always, says sucks to suck. And stuck all the way. Panda Pirate says you just got to get 8K, get your officer levels to 8K, and then you won't have a problem. Well, Panda Pirate, I'll be surprised if you don't get past 8K and work your way through to the next part of that. Mickey the Moose says he's from Glasgow. Glasgow, aye, lad. How you doing, lad? Yeah, from Glasgow, aye. That is my Glaswegian attempt, which sounds Austrian. Basically, it's Quasel tried to do something with throat issues that he's got. George would like to George would always like to jump on and say a few other bits. George, I would like to move the subject on, George. So what are your final thoughts regarding this, buddy? Jump on, George. George. Here you go.
Sorry.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, the final thought is this. I started the game 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Our server. When the server started 5 years, the game was 7 years. I'm pretty much in the path of the whalers almost. When G6 came out, we had the same problem. Like we're having a G7. When G6 opened up 2 years ago, a lot of players weren't prepared. They thought, hey, we could jump.
Yeah.
No, it was easier on G4, G5. We jumped. We didn't have our ships ready. Our research officers, they jumped. They got frustrated. Some of them did quit, rage quit.
Yeah.
Because they weren't ready. We weren't prepared. The same thing is G7 right now. A lot of people are thinking, well, I started G6. It was quick. Yes, it took a year for all the efficiencies, a year for a lot of ships.
Yeah.
Specialty ship for people to grow faster.
Yeah.
They jumped, they grew faster.
Yeah.
Now we're back to 2 years ago where G6 came out. Now it's G7. People have to think about it. Hey, this is a whole new system they're put out. You gotta think old school, old ways. When originally the game came out.
Yes.
I mean, Quasar could remember, right? How hard was it when you started?
Yeah, it was difficult.
It was very limited of payouts, growth.
Yeah, true. That is very well put. But now you've improved. You've obviously gone stronger with the research. You've got stronger with the surge research for people at 70 plus is quite important. But people who are under that, your research getting maxed as far as humanly possible will always take your ships further. But what I'm asking you to do,
favors. Yeah. Everybody should do their favors. Do other things. You know, artifacts.
Yeah,
the artifacts are the best, and it's easy. If you do your Trez engine, you get all your artifacts. It took all my artifacts within 3-4 months to get them maxed out.
Yes, exactly.
There are opportunities.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I think you bring up good points. And remember, George, we tried to stop you as much as possible to go to 71. And eventually, when you could kill the mission hostiles without it being a problem, that's why I like the mission. I like the one thing they did very well from going to 70, 71 is they have those, they put those mission hostiles, they made them really difficult. And you're like, you must defeat this to at least have a chance.
From G6. Yeah. There was never a mission in G6.
Exactly.
And players got there and they got stuck. They didn't know how to grow. They were like, "Oh, I need to spend money. I can't grow nothing." They quit. Here, you have an opportunity to do the missions and say, "Okay, I can't do it. Let me grow. Let me see what I need to."
But what I'm trying to get them to understand is that is a beautiful way to get everyone ready for the next thing. So if you can do something like that in a beautiful way, whereby you cannot just punch up in a normal way, you be able to sort of do it. I know people can cheese these missions, but at least it's a good start. Don't you agree, Crucito?
So yeah, I was just going to bring it up, and then you dropped the cheese bomb on there.
Yeah, cheese bomb.
But, so I think one thing, and you know, if you look at before, right, you had to have your epic or your ISIS jelly to go into the next one, right? Because you had to go kill that epic with one of those ships.
Yes.
I think, and you know, we've had a couple of good discussions, you know, especially with KJ, we're talking about that, where I think the mission is great.
Yes.
However, I think something that was probably overlooked, especially now they're trying to teach us, you know, hey, look, we're going to start limiting your ability to use certain officers at certain levels. I think something they might need to look at is yeah, I can go up there and cheese that mission hostile. And a lot of players will come over here to these discords and they'll see that and like, oh, okay, I can beat it. And then they jump up and that's great. But then they get kicked in the teeth and then it's, hey, I'm out of here. And I think some of that, again, is player responsibility to understand what they can or can't do.
Yeah.
Who was here before? I think that was, I think it was you, Relentless, that was saying like, hey, I can go and kill the 71s. Yes, go up there, experiment, realize whether, yep, I can kill a 71, but it's going to take me, I can kill maybe 2 per hull. Well, guess what? That's going to be your daily, which means you're going to have 25 holes up there in order to get a daily done. And if that's something you're okay with, and this is something that Stony mentioned earlier, if you're comfortable doing that and that's part of your play style and you want to do it, hey, have at it. Make it the challenge, make it your thing.
Yeah.
I do think to some extent, and I'm gonna kind of push this to you as a CC type of thing, right? Or as a
mod.
Mod,
Yeah.
right? Throwing that out there of, hey guys, just because you can do it, you need to understand what the rest of your gameplay is going to be for a while. Where, yeah, you killed that mission hostile.
Yeah.
Now, could you kill it 25 more times? And are you comfortable with what the result is going to look like?
Yeah.
And that I think is what is missing on a lot of this stuff. We see players with the power creep. Oh, I can get up there right away.
Yeah.
And then they just get mad. So
Well,
something to keep in mind when you're talking to the folks out here.
Yeah, always like to do so, and let's give this an opportunity because I know Jules Verne barely ever joins us, which is very nice for him to come through. Jules, your thoughts regarding balanced FKR ships is what our topic is, and what we'd like to do. Jules, what would you like to say?
Well, I just want to kind of bounce off Cruzito here when he's talking about the necessary roadblock that was built for G7.
Yes.
And how that can translate into new features.
Yes.
Right? It is a choice. It is an active choice you make to click the Op 71 button. It is not something that is required from you in the game to engage with the game's content. However, the V'ger Orions are part of an engagement process that they are forcing upon you.
Correct.
In a way, if you want to engage in this feature, you must do these Orions. In order to do these Orions, you must do things that your account may not be ready for, aka use the cheeseball crew.
Yes.
Cheese bomb crew, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like there needs to be a difference between features that give you core progression, that feed core progression like the challenge track does.
Yes.
Versus features where you can select what you want to hit and what you don't want to hit.
True.
And it's punching up, I have to do a cheeseball crew and it's gonna be really painful, or I can be comfortable down here. And that I think that's the hard part about how they design the Orions and why there is so much pushback on the Orion design itself.
Yes.
Is because they didn't give a choice. They didn't give a choice to the players who can't do that.
Yeah, absolutely spot on, Jules. And that's why with these events that are coming, for example, the Scottys research, one of the main aspects that we were talking about at the beginning was, do you have a balanced set of FKR ships? What if you can't use specialty ships? What if you needed, to have a very strong battleship that's not a cube, and a strong interceptor that's not a Vengeance or a Cruncher, or, well, no, you'll have a Cruncher, or a strong explorer like the Enterprise? Do people have a balanced aspect in their game so that if you had, for example, like the events last week we had Klingons, Crystal, and Interceptors. This week we have, battleships, Romulan and and next week obviously we'll have Federation and Explorers. Do people have balanced ships that are strong enough to do hostiles at that level? What do you think, Jules?
No, it's a great question, and I think one of the things I go back to is the original design for the outpost and how the combat was balanced.
Yes.
Now, no one actually saw what the combat balancing formula was, and I don't have the exact formula in front of me to share like in heavy detail, but I can tell you in broad strokes, it was the level of the outpost was one mid-tier ship at that shipyard level. So if it was a level 70 outpost, they expected you to have a mid-tier G6 Epic.
Yes.
One shipyard level down, also mid-tier, so a G6 Rare, and another one down from that, which would be your G6 Uncommon.
Yes.
Now, that's how they balance the combat.
Interesting.
It didn't matter what ship type or if it was FK or not. So what a lot of players were able to do is use one or two faction ships and a specialty ship or an ortho ship or a cube or a relativity, whatever. And that gave them the gamut of the 3 powered ships that they needed for that. Now, if they put in a hard-coded, like, it must be FKR, we're in deep trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. But
if they put in a hard-coded that is one ship type, I think a lot of players may be in deep trouble, but I think there's an easier out if that's the case, and that is the ability to still use the specialty ships if that is the hard coding. So that's where I'm like, I don't know which way they're going to go, whether it's going to be soft coded, as then there's going to be a very large, canine tooth cannon that comes out and insta kills anything that's not an FKR ship, like something like that.
Yeah, that's true.
To be like something soft that is like a big bonus to FKR ships, great. Something that's hard that says if you have this, you will instantly die. I don't think that's great.
No, I completely agree with you, and the reason is why we're guiding players with FK. As you know, none of us have seen anything that's coming up next yet. But with these events, it's giving us nuts and little bits of information about, do you have one of each in FKR? What if no specialty? What if you're no specialty ship? It can be used. Do you have one of each that's strong enough to do any event you want or any whatever comes up that you want with a specialty ship? Imagine if you were told only FKRs and you needed an interceptor, and then you do another one, you need just a battleship, or another one, just an explorer. Do you have strong enough things to be able to achieve this? Having a balanced account will allow you to get ready, because these hostiles are never going to get easier, are they, Jules? They're just going to get harder and harder. So how can we prepare for harder and harder as they come in? That is the important aspect of what I'm trying to teach here. And I hope you agree.
I do agree. It's just hard to know without knowing the hard coding. I have a max Borg cube.
Yes.
The second strongest is a Dederadex.
Oh, okay.
So like, I am lacking in the battleship. So if they have a hard coded, it has to be FKR, it has to be a battleship. I'm gonna be screwed. I have to go hit G7 hostiles with a Dederadex. It ain't happening. That event is
You're not the only one.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. If it is
Nigel,
yeah,
if it is battleship or if it is FKR, I'm fine.
Yeah, true. Let's move on to KJ. Yes, buddy.
Question. Do you think that something like this is you're looking at kind of an individual account basis, or are you looking at like maybe some alliance or some type of friends that you can call upon to help you in different situations?
Yeah, sure.
Do you think that every account needs to be in this way, or do you think maybe you just need to know people that can potentially pick up the slack for you?
No,
in a way.
no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if I was in your account, wherever level you're at, 66, 67, 63, 56, whatever, make sure you have a balance of the three ships like the game originally designed, from the three FKR factions, to ensure that you have a balance to be able to do different things at different times. Without anyone's help, without any boost, without anything else, just so you can go, do you know what? If there was an event, it's only battleship only FKR only, I can still kill at my level and I don't have to kill 500 of these because the points are less, for example, if there's such a thing. And that's the most important thing to mention that through. Yes, Quasel?
I mean, if that's the goal, it comes kind of tricky, because if you build the route like from 63 to 66 to 67 or whatever, those ships wouldn't in any way be capable to really do 70 content.
Well, with the surge research, you might surprise yourself way more than what you think. Crisito brings up a good point as well, Quasel, which I'm sure he'll tell us as well, is one thing Scopely did was distract us with specialty ships that could be useful outside of their loop or purpose, aka faction stuff. It lets us bypass the FKR ships, and now they want us to use FKR stuff. I'm not saying they want you to use FKR stuff. I'm just saying you need to have a balanced account for the FKR, and then that'll be something that you can focus on. Any further thoughts on that, Crisito, bud?
Well, I think, and again, if you look at, right, the one anomaly is G6, right? I think if you look down the G3s, the 4s, even the 5s, they introduced ships, right? But they weren't like the thing, right? I mean, you had the Telios that a lot of players used to go and do their rep grinding because they could punch up higher. Okay, great. But you still went after your FKR ships.
Yes.
Same thing in G5. Now, again, I know today you can get from ops, 0 to ops 50 in a matter of, 30 days or whatever it is by just blowing past everything. Great.
Yeah.
G6 is where they came in and they blew it all up. And I think in this factoring this idea of what they did, and they were like, man, if we could put G6 behind us,
Yeah.
because whoever was doing that or what they were doing there took us off of our main vision.
Yes.
Well, now they're having to deal, unfortunately, with the ramifications of that.
Yeah.
Because I think, like Putz was saying earlier, I would venture to guess, Putz, you're going to go straight from, or you did, you're going to rocket all the way to 70 using your relativity,
Yeah.
maybe a GS31. Well, cool. Putz might be screwed here with this, right? If it's like Jules was saying, a soft one, well, okay, you got to at least use an interceptor or explorer. All right, Putz might be able to do that.
Yes.
He's got that relativity, he's got that GS31. If it's you must use a faction ship, well,
yeah,
he might be SOL.
Well,
that's
not only him.
Yeah.
Doing. You got to recognize that, okay, for this certain area, we're going to not necessarily quote unquote punish, but we're going to give you the bonus because you did follow that. That's something they need to do. The base needs to be interceptor, bonus for FKR. Now players may start recognizing a little bit closer to, oh, they're telling me I need to make sure I'm following that FKR path and not only the specialty one.
Yeah, true. And I want to answer a couple of very critical questions. Zedacron says the other side of the balance issue is getting a max cube to get all of your Xbox related research done. That's tied to it. In order to do that, you must first max out a G6 Epic, which is true. But then everyone neglects their battleships FKRs because they're like, well, the cube can do it all. So why should I put any money into an FKR cube? And then Captain Elias Scott, before Sniper jumps in, is it seems that Scopely doesn't have a clear strategy looking at G7. They want us to single faction. How can you possibly have one of each? Now, I'm saying, Captain Elias Scott, forget G7. What is your next level? Why do you think Surge research has become so vital with, 3,000% plus of things? Because it's to try and boost up your G6 epics to allow them to maybe be a bit stronger. But I'm just giving you some advice regarding that. Sniper, you managed to come back in. Any thoughts regarding this? Because Panda's getting bored and he wants to move the subject on.
Yeah, thanks. Just had to take a quick hiatus, but yeah, no, I think it's a kind of interesting thing. Like, if this is like a change in direction that Scopely is looking to do, because I mean, realistically, they would need to provide, some kind of of help to get it done, because this is not the pattern that people have followed. I mean, if you look at it, like especially G6, as was mentioned already, so I won't belabor the point.
Yes.
But if you look at like the G6 pattern, like most people were following the Borg pattern, at least originally, and then they started following the specialty ship pattern. The original Borg pattern was essentially get one ship of each FKR to tier 9,
Yes.
uncommon and rare, so you can tier up the cube, right? So a lot of people who were earlier in G6 are going to have an uncommon and a rare at T9, right? Potentially, and then one maxed epic or one pretty high level epic, and that's what they're going to have. And quite frankly, the G6 battleship, the Scamander, like, I've never liked that ship. Every time I've come across it in like an arena or any other context, like, it has been easily destroyed, right? Like, even at max. So that ship was never really worth investing into. So I don't have a max one of those, even though I could, but I don't.
Yeah.
So I think there's but the point that I wanted to make, that maybe is unique, maybe isn't.
Yes.
I think it's keyed off a little bit of what KJ was saying earlier, and I don't know what the discussion has been since then.
Yeah.
But he mentioned something like, hey, if there's an event and it requires that, and it requires me using a battleship that's FKR to defeat a 70 or 71 or 72 hostile, and I'm not capable of that, okay, I'll skip that event. So the question becomes then, and I know we don't know this because we don't know what the future is going to be, right?
Yeah.
But if they fundamentally change the direction, how much is that reward, right? Meaning, like, it's a significant cost, whether it's that's in time, in resources, or in actual money, to rebalance an account, right? And so if it's for a single event or a couple of events that, give you a little reward here, a little reward there,
Yeah.
It might not be worth the investment.
True.
If it's fundamentally changing the game, like, oh, every new loop is going to require this, and you really can't participate in any of the new content unless you have FKR, and every single event is going to be based on that, well, then that's a fundamental paradigm shift.
Yeah,
so it really becomes like, what is the benefit and what is the incentive? Is it a single event that can be skipped, or is it a fundamental restructure of the game?
No, I'm not saying a restructure. I'm gonna allow a few people to sort of bounce very last thoughts because Panda's getting bored. But the most important thing to realize is that I am not warning you to a level that you've got to be there. I'm just saying think about balance, and it doesn't mean you have to max everything because that's how people think. Think about balance and how you advise your alliance teammates who are going to need help, who are going to need to be guidance. Loads of people on Twitch are saying, Rage Starve said realistically how long to max Surge free to play, also a G6 Epic with the poor payouts for the low to mid lower free to play player. Well, that's where Sundays are for, and that's where you need to sort of get people to help you out. You need to help as much of your alliance mates and say, save all your loot, your Surge goo, make sure it's ready for the next thing. And that'll be something to help all your FKR. So when you get to like the 70, you can get that little boost. And if you're at 60 or 70 and so on and so forth, this is mostly something that higher up players need to watch out for because you don't have the ship at your level. That's the most important thing. So that'll be an important thing to sort of figure out. Captain Chris Pike, any last thoughts regarding this? And then I'm going to move on to some.
I'm gonna be around and wrap it up. I just wanted to touch on a point that KJ also pointed out, which was he asked, well, would somebody else be able to help me attack those alternate hostiles? So again, I know this isn't related to your balance thought. Yes, I preach balance to everyone.
Yeah.
But again, I also get the shortcut end, which has been accomplished with the methodologies that's been well spoken about so far.
Yes.
So the different shortcuts, right? The FK, picking a specific FKR ship, picking specialty, what I call support ships, which are basically anything that isn't an FKR ship. But I think that the game needs to think about what it wants to be in terms of, it needs to embrace the fact that this is a community and that for the higher level players to stay engaged,
yes,
there needs to be a way. I personally find it fun to help others. Okay, Nigel, I know you do because that's why you do this call and why you do many calls, right? You like engaging with this community, and the other players that are on here somewhat do as well. So and they like figuring out the puzzles, and they like trying to at least advise these guys that seem to be headstrong to do things the way they want to. Hey, you need to listen to us because we're telling you, we're the players. We know we're talking to the players. We want a community that can interact with each other. So if so first of all, I believe that even if they preached it and put it in a video message and put it on the view screen that you have to look at it, right? People are still going to ignore or either not watch it or not read the messaging. I don't care whether you put it on Discord. I'm an admiral that tries to communicate information out to a team. I get the thought that some people just don't want to acknowledge in Discord. Some people also just want to figure things out. And some people aren't even playing the game because of any of the things that we're talking about.
True.
But I think the most important thing is they're looking for community. They're looking for engagement. And if you can help somebody, right? And maybe that's, hey, and again, we have alliance against, I get it, but I feel like they've gotten watered down. I feel like what you get is kind of the same thing, and it's not really that great, first place, second place, third place, and then everybody else kind of falls. It's not like I've said, before this, as a level 72, I don't really need the alliance rewards or to really progress my gameplay.
Sure.
I don't really need that.
Yeah.
Why I have that is for the community purposes of the game. Right. I want to help the other team. I want to feel like we're a team. There's a goal that we have, and to do that, you have to have goals, and you have to have short-term, long-term, things like that. That's what's missing in the game. You have sort of the short-term ones with the ALBs every once in a while.
Yeah.
You have your own personal ones, but they need sort of longer-term ones that can help grow, help the alliances kind of put well, this is why we're doing this. We're all kind of trying to head together. There's a reason we want to all help each other to get better.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
In sports, I'm a coach. You play, you put the lower, a player that wants to get better plays with other players that are better. And that gets you better. So when I find people that show an interest in the game, go, wait a minute, oh, how do I, I love your ships. How do I get there? Blah, blah, blah. There's like the wonderment of the game, right? These guys that are coming in. And I've got a server that really there aren't new. I mean, it's an older server, so we don't really have a lot of new players. But I have some people that kind of stepped away from the game, came back, and said, "Well, how do we get there? How do we do this?"
Yeah.
And obviously, the process is different than what it was for all of us that have been on here for 5+ 6 years playing the game. But so there's ton of some of that to figure out. Even a newer player can give advice that I can't, because I had to go through it all the way from the Rialta to now, right? And from when I'm like, guys, you have no idea. I remember when you had to warp a ship and you couldn't stop it. It went to wherever you did, and that was it. You couldn't stop it. That's not the problem. Like, game was slow. There was a lot of waiting in between things.
Yeah.
But again, I think that if we create, so if we do have this focus on FKR, maybe that's how we get people engaged. Say, look, ship is, again, it's a problem puzzle kind of thing. That's what I kind of like about it, right?
Yeah.
If we say, okay, well, to get the job done, maybe if you can't do it as an individual, maybe there's a way that there's a consolation. We can do it as a team. So as much as you can't get what you need by banging it, and and again, there'll be people that will. They'll say, no problem, I'm getting it done, no problem. But there'll be people that I could use a hand. Right, I have like some of the creative thing. I love the creative thoughts about, hey, if you stung somebody, right? Look at the out of box thinking that came from that. Like, if you sting somebody, it lowers the crits, and so all of a sudden now now I'm able to kill things that I wasn't. I mean, talk about but that requires another player, right, to help you through that process. That again that and people kind of chuckled at that and said, wow, that's really out of box, and wow, that's an interesting, and we got out there on the Discords, and then everybody started kind of doing different little things to try and but that's where engage. Again, I'm not a game developer, but if I was, I am from the tech world. I think games are about engagement, and if you want the players engaged, you've got to give them something to be engaged about, and it can't just be in a monotonous grind. So that circle, we call it the cycle, or the rinse. The rinse. Start in the loop. Basically, it's referred to as a loop, right? As it is. It feels like, okay, rinse, repeat. We basically kill something, collect something, and then level it up to our pulls and start the process over again. Regardless of what it is. That's how every arc runs.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
Interject something where they said, okay, well, I get it. Again, there's a certain amount of that has to happen. But if we can do that in some other community fashion, so if FKR ships are the way they want to go, look at I've got a Crenshaw. Look what it can do. I can step back through all of them. Like I said, I'm balanced. I can go back, even though I don't need to. I go back to G5s and I go back to G4s. I do that like with armadas, with lower level players, because I'm not trying to suck all the loot from an armada that they might be trying to win.
But
they need to win it. But so you lower your ships.
But also
how they get engaged.
But also let me jump in here. And also the alliance aspect of it, I'm telling you, is something that they are working on, and I expect loads of stuff regarding that aspect of it. And I think it's going to be fun. What's going to do that? I'm just going to try and move this on, because I've got to get through quite a few little bits and bobs, which are really cool. The most other important.
Sorry, Nigel. I didn't mean to run over. And thank you so much.
I really appreciate you. Always welcome on stage. And guys, it's always important. So Panda Pirate, when you speak about Scottys research, that event itself, I think, is a very important event, because Galactic Rush did not work in that way. Scottys research is a perfect way on how we expect as a community for events to happen. And that is a really important thing. Divine One Divinity says, some players look at what other players are using and wait to be spoon-fed. Star Trek always been the voyage of discovery, not feed me, which is true, which is why Scottys research is really important. And what it does, what I like about it, is that you're not purchasing something to play. You can all grind and do it. And that is really, really important to sort of figure out. And that is a very good thing that they've done. And I want to applaud them for how they've done that. That it is really important. And then, as you're helping each other, helping your alliance mates, and so on and so forth with Scottys research and doing those things, it's a very good payout that comes out of it. Yes, the Ferengi store needs an update. Here's fingers crossed that they'll update it even further. But that's also a good thing. So we want to tell them, absolutely love Scottys research. Please do more of that. Watch with the balance when it comes to the Orions, when whatever next thing you develop, whatever next hostile, whatever next feature you do, watch out for the balance specifically at certain levels and be ready to make changes regarding that. But Scotty's research is a great example of how we want Galactic Rush to be, how Flashpoints could have been, how any of the new events could be. You can grind your way to get your tickets, then you can work your way to get the event, and look how much more people will spend and will actually enjoy things to do and be really important in sort of figuring those out. And that's really, really important and absolutely superb. Let's hope that they listen to that feedback and so on. Also, let's talk. I'm going to briefly speak about the comp, and I'll explain what's been going on behind the scenes, because there's a 2 or 3 pronged triangular problem that they are. What has been the major issue that they've been dealing with, and they've been trying really hard. And I want to explain to people that they are giving it a good go. AWS, Amazon was one thing, and that was a little bit on Amazon's side. This time, they managed to fix the login issue today with the maintenance. I do believe that they're coming out with more comps to try and solve most of that, but don't let that deter you from completing what you need to do, and we will advocate for all those things that are very, very important and make sure that the players get exactly what they've lost out. I know the CCs have been pushing for Challenger track points. I hope they do them and they get them, and it becomes a very important thing that they sort of give back, or at least give you the credits if they don't want to give people Challenger points because they think they'll get to Legendary very quickly. And then the Landshark says, what about the Outpost heroic scoring? I'm still stuck at 10 points and 20 waves in a row. The Landshark, we can bring that up to the team and have a look at that. And Halo says, I don't go on stage because my opinions are French-Canadian. All diversities are welcome. That's why I've opened the stage. Yes, I know people will get better at getting themselves through quite quickly into this thing, but I want to make sure the voice of the players is for all the players, regardless of what level you're at and what you do that. Kevin12 says, £99 comp chess piece. Yeah, I think that would be great. One of the big suggestions that I thought was quite fun, Kevin, which I think you'll laugh at, is someone suggested give us the a bonus BP where you give us the free track at the top for all the players. And then if someone wishes to purchase more, that would be amazing and really cool to go through. That will just be something that I hope they do and they work in. They'd be doing well. I'm glad that people's discussions have led to this FKR balance situation. I'm not saying this is the be-all and end-all. I'm not saying you're going to struggle for what it is. I have not seen anything that's come up next. I am miles away from seeing it. The CCs and the playtesters and PAC and all of them have to go to see it. The reason I bring this conversation up is for members of PAC or who see it earlier than us, or members of the CC community who can tell, give the feedback that we are asking for, which is why this is quite an important VOTP that we did, so that people can understand everyone's opinions matter and how they do things and how they are struggling through most of it. Flex Rex, who's skipping leg day, said, I think all FKR stuff is rewarding progress for players. Divine One Divinity says Scopely's main issue is miscommunication generally between design, lives off, and engineering. It's not communication. I think that there is like a misconnect between what we'd like to advertise, what we'd like people to figure out, and what we'd like to tell people. And I think that is a big disconnect that they have, don't they? Because they're like, hey, I'm really worried about telling them this stuff because they won't spend money on this. And then you're like, we won't tell them too much because we want them to figure it out, which is fair enough with the Orions, for example.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And trying to balance all of that is quite difficult without causing frustration, because there'll be players who are like, look, I've only got an hour in a day. I don't really have time to spend ages to try and figure this out. I want someone to give me the solution, and I just want to crack on, enjoy the game, enjoy the IP, have a beautiful ship.
The shortcut.
Yeah, and I want the shortcut. I really like this IP. I want to have this ship. I just really want to enjoy it. Yeah, agreed. But between there, it's trying to find a balance that works is going to be very, very difficult. Monocle on Discord says, I worry about how FCFC bean counters identify their various metrics and reporting for how people play the game. According to my annual game snapshot, my favorite ship is whatever did the most auto-grinding, and my favorite crew is whatever used for raiding during incursion. I agree, but one thing you have to realize, Monocle, this is why I'm trying to be slightly different, which is why I'm not a CC, I'm a moderator. and I deal with a lot of players and what issues they have, and I try and help them through it. My aim is to get people to at least smile and enjoy the day and really, really be happy about the game, because there's a lot of fun to enjoy. It's a real shame to look at all the negativity all the time. There's loads of good stuff that you can enjoy in there. I know the game has been unstable, but I'm trying to explain to you why. And the why becomes as a three-pronged attack, because there are three things that could potentially go wrong, which is from the person, the client using it, from the server of where it's based, and for the transition between the server to the client, which is the other thing. So we're hoping that they will bring more feedback with regards to that. Be kind to your CMs, be kind to the team. They will help you, they will guide you, they will always do things which are really, really good for you. And also, Red Lentless says, I don't think it's practical to expect all players to have multiple well-developed ships in their generation. It's hard enough having one decent ship, never mind qualifiers like FKR-specific ships. Red Lentless, I agree, but also, I'm just guiding you here. It's like okay, imagine in 3 or... what's the next? So next arc is about 3.5 weeks time, and the arc after that is in about 7 weeks time, right? What if I'm giving you a 3 or 7 or even 10-week head start, saying, do you know what? Consider it. When you're doing a COTA, maybe spend your materials on a different ship. Just because you need to score in it and get your officer anyway. Why not just think of it like that? I'm giving you the biggest head start of all time, which is really important. And that's something to sort of be wary of. You can't all be like Panda Pirate, who is superb at collecting officers. Officers are always forever. Ships are not. But maybe with the surge research, your ships can go further. If you're in the 50 range, I would really focus on getting all your research done. Do not skip your research anymore. It is vital to do so for wherever it is. Yes, Cruzito.
So, and one thing, Nigel, because I know you want to go on or keep pressing on this, but
yeah,
one thing to keep in mind, and again, I know that there's a lot of, late G5, maybe even early G5 or even early G6 players out there.
Yeah.
I know we've been talking about it, especially when you hear the surge research or you're hearing, the 72s or the 73s or the whales coming out and talking. One of the things that it would be very important, especially for folks like Nigel, so that on these podcasts, is to hear your guys' voice.
Yes.
Because you all, and why I think it's good for us to talk about it, but at some point, those of you that are in that G5 range or in that G6, you're going to experience what we're experiencing.
Yes.
But we, unfortunately, are not experiencing the same gameplay that you did because, quite frankly, for most of us, that was 2, maybe 3 years ago, even 4 at that in some cases. So it's very important for your voices to be heard here so that Scopely can help or adjust or whatever it is for you that are going to be experiencing this. Because again, we've already gone through it. We know what's coming for us and where it's going to impact. Definitely, please come out, speak out, say, get on stage, do it. Nigel is very welcoming in having folks come out here to express their opinion. So if you are there or if you have players in your alliance that don't know about this, bring them here so that they can then come out here and express it.
Yeah.
Or, definitely bring up the message from them as well. So anyways, thank you. No, I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And that's why I call it that. Yes, things may go a little bit different, but I want, if Scopely ever listen to this, to go, wow, that's feedback from, like, we've had 21 different speakers today, 21, which is incredible, from up 68, 69, 67, and in all the chats as well, which is something that I am really proud that you guys are doing. Please come. And if you can't, do it in text. I'll read it every time because I want to make sure they hear the feedback, not from my passionate style of doing it, from your style, because you may want to, say it in a different way or have a different aspect to it. And this is what Voice of the Players brings. Yes, I know there's someone on Twitch who just went, oh, well, Voice of Players, but you have to follow, to even do in the chat. And I'm like, well, so you want me to gain nothing at all from this at all? So you won't even follow me to allow me just the numbers so I can be able to help you. That's not the way to look at it. I'm trying to get the numbers so I can make more influence and more impact. I would love to be part of PAC. I would love to be involved way more in the game a lot earlier. It's something that I used to have as a moderator, but they've, obviously limited that for whatever their reasons are. And I don't blame them for them. That's just the way they do things. And I just want people, if you're here on Discord, just go on Twitch and follow and just even mute it. You don't have to listen to it there. just so I've got numbers, and that's all it is. So I can help you more, because if Paramount give me the numbers that I'm looking for, and we get to that, I can give away $5,100 packs a month. Imagine donating that to loads of players who really need it and real desperate for it. That is why I am here, and allow everyone to speak, even George. George, what are your thoughts, buddy? I know you jumped on.
I just want one more thought.
Yeah.
We're talking about ships.
Yes.
I would love if Scopely could bring back a new formation Armada.
Okay.
Explain why, because Kremlin formation Armada, my alliance, I do it twice a week.
Okay.
I do it, that's because I want to. I do it all the 47s, 40s. I'm doing it for the G4, G5 players, because the thing is, they love it, and I loved it because when it came out, it gave me all the epic ships. I didn't have to have rep writing. I didn't have to do that. It was there when I got to allowed to open it up.
Yeah.
I opened all 3 ships. Check open 2 twice. I have 6 of them.
Yes.
That would be really better if Scopely in the next 7 weeks or the next 3 arcs away.
Yes.
Come back with an Armada. Those Armadas were actually decent. The formation, it helped.
Yeah.
Payouts were pretty good too, and it helped. The bigger players helped the little players.
Yeah.
That'd be really awesome if we brought that back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I know.
Wait until the next month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We'll see how it is.
If it comes another kind of formation Armada that I'm helping my team plus growing myself, yes, I love it.
All right. Yeah, let me say that. Great suggestion, George. I mean, I could see a lot of people do like it, people hate it. I mean, Maflat, Quasel, Maflat, who's a part of my alliance and my server, absolutely hates formation armadas. He's starting to get there, aren't you, Maflat? You're now liking it a little bit more, but formadas are a pain to organize. But I get it. Everyone's got their opinion, and he's allowed to voice his opinion regarding that, and that is something that someone wants. Also, Panda Pirate would like to ask very serious questions because he needs to get to his answers because as a lawyer. Are players getting a comp chest for this morning's non-AWS related server issues? Yes, I was told, yes, they're working on it, whatever that will be. Martok SGC on Twitch said we need a speed up for formation armadas. I don't know how they do it because that's difficult, but also a good idea. Jules Verne would like to bring back worm modders. Oh dear. Jules Verne, if you'd like to do a passionate speech about worm modders, you're more than welcome to go on stage and get absolutely slaughtered if you wish regarding that. Worm modders, you're more than welcome. Jules Verne, if you see them appear in the next few months, you know Jules is to do with it. Yes, Sniper. Oh.
Just a suggestion on the comp chest here, because I know Scopely can't give out too much in the comp chest, right? We always know the comp chest has to be balanced, right? Because it goes out to all the players. But just one thing that we have right now, and I suggested this in other forums, but we have the outpost events going on right now. Right?
Yes,
and we've got some additional sourcing for outposts, but I'm sure people really could use some more, especially to complete these events. So since there's a comp chest going on anyway, one thing that may be useful to include in the comp chest is some outpost directives.
Yeah, okay. That's a really good suggestion actually, because I know they're not looking in that direction, but why not? That could be a great one. Also, Sniper, Jules Verne has come up with another idea. He said a formation Wormada is his other suggestion. Thank God Jules Verne is here to suggest wonderful ideas to the team. So if these things start coming up, then we need to seriously find Jules Verne. If you see him on the cruise, say hi to him, but give him a little punch in the 6-pack while you're at it at the same time, just so he can feel the pain from us all.
My buddy Jules Verne needs to stick to the math and not go to the creating idea for new Armada.
Well, who knows? Maybe the payout is so good that everybody falls in love with worms. I mean, who knows?
And Taco, we can't throw him overboard. We still need him. So let's not hurt Jules. It's like a hug, but with a slap at the same time. Formation Assaults, Monocle says on Discord, and that is a terrible, terrible again. MJ has like, oh my God, Worm Formada confirmed. Wait, did someone say worms? No, Rage Starved. It's definitely a joke. Something not happening. And Jules...
It's Swarm Armada. Swarm Formation Armada.
And that is George being muted and booted off the stage. Thank you very much, George.
This is why we prefer to KOS George.
Yeah, exactly. Jules Verne has confirmed on Discord that he is definitely on Formation Assaults, and he's going to be working on that idea soon. Let's see if a math guy can come up with a good idea for us all. Wow. It's been an absolutely superb, like honestly, great discussion. But I hope this is really important for your team and everybody to start realizing how important it is to be ready for that aspect of this. Because it is, if you don't realize where I'm taking you with this, you will realize very much soon. And then you'll be like, oh my God, Nigel, I wish we listened to you and you told us about it a little bit more, because I'm trying to make sure that everyone does that. Need to run Solar World, and thank you very much. If I were you guys, that it's been brilliant in sort of having that chat. Any further questions, please let us know. Jump onto Twitch. We will try marbles and see whether it works on a Mac. It'll be a lot of fun. Balance your FKRs, MJ Hat says. Jump onto that and we will switch to marbles. What a wonderful audience we've had, Quasel. We had a sensational over, and then the 22 different speakers today that shows everything that is really important and unique in this thing. And it's really important and unique in who's that thing. And it's Quasel, you're leaking back. Quasel, who's that thing? And it's Quasel, you're leaking back. Okay, I'm server muting Quasel. Quasel has been server muted. Jesus Christ, that was absolutely terrifying. Hearing myself 20 times is not a good idea. And also a very terrifying thing listening to my voice, because then I'm like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? Little tweak will require for this that I need to do when I switch to marbles. But let's jump on to Twitch and let's have a bit of fun for the last bit. Can you mute George also? No, I'm not going to mute George. It's been a wonderful stream. I absolutely love everybody that come and helped out. It's been one of the...
So glad the podcast is live.